Yo, yo, how's it going, party people? My name is Zach Columber, and I believe this is the fourth installment of my series about healing stomach issues and anxiety through self care, meditation, and self love. We might change the fucking title slightly each time, but that's chill. So, if you're just getting into this, here's why you should watch this. Basically, for the last year, I have had really bad stomach issues. I got bad bacteria in my stomach when I was in Bali in Indonesia. And when I came back here, due to the existential threat of coronavirus, I basically got really stressed out because I was in Bali, had to fly out within a week. You're calling to the not cell phone, but you're using Skype to call these flight airlines. Sorry, it's been a long day, guys. I'm pretty the flight airlines indeed. But you're calling these airlines, and it's like a 3 hour wait, and you have four computers, each on a different Skype profile, dialing different numbers because at any point you might just get hung up on. So that was very stressful for about a day or two, just trying to see, can we get out of Bali before borders close? Because this was right when President Trump voted or acted to close down flights from Europe. So I think we got in on the Monday right when that was happening, and we had to switch our flights around, go to the West Coast. Anyways, point of the story is all that stress fucked with me, and it allowed that bad bacteria to grow. And by the time I dealt with it, I think it was like last October, and it had about 5 or 6 months to kind of, do its thing. And I'd seen some GIs that were not helpful at all. Every GI just wants to stick their fucking colonoscopy scope up their ass, up your ass. They're very anally obsessed. And then if I hadn't found this functional nutritionist who gave me a very in-depth stool test or shit test for those in the biz, you're going to have to get something like that if you haven't already, because all of the normal stool tests showed up as like, you're completely fine. I was like, Doc, I was in Indonesia. They might have different bacteria than you have here in the gold US of A. And they were just, these old ass doctors who, bless their hearts, I'm sure they're trying their best, but were not mindful of the situation. And they didn't order the additional one. So her name is Deidre, and it's Deidre at Always Growing. I can post a link down there. Her coaching is invaluable, and I can't wait to tell you more about all the stuff that she's helped me with. But the main thing I'll say for right now for this update is that I'm seeing how you really have this 2 steps forward, 1 step back approach with healing. Because the thing is, and this is what makes it, I think, so hard, and if you're watching this right now, I'm sure you have to have some emotional connection to these issues, or else you wouldn't be. I'm not that exciting of a speaker. It's like if you don't handle the stress, it just comes back. And I need to get my second follow-up stool test here. I'm basically in the middle of a big launch for work. I work as an internet marketer. I'm a copywriter, and I make a lot of my money in these very short, intense periods. And right now, I'm kind of in the middle of that, and it'll be over in about a week, week and a half. And I cannot wait until it to be over, because I'm noticing that although I've healed since my last video, with each day of work, I feel myself kind of like regressing. And so you could notice this. Like for me, I noticed that usually I try to take at least a Saturday off. So usually I take Saturday and Sunday off, and then Monday I'm working, right? As a lot of people do. And on Monday, I have the best energy, most fresh energy. Tuesday, still really good. Wednesday, okay. By Thursday and Friday, even during normal times, I'm not at my peak energy. But right now, it's like I woke up today feeling like shit. Today's a Friday. I was planning to write a little bit more, but I just had to pivot and get done what I could. And I'm just noticing that even though I'm not anxious because I have a cash buffer in, I got this PPP loan. Thank God the government did something for once, or else I would have been completely fucked. Because of finances basically going down from COVID and everything. But in any case, it's just like, even though there's no threat this second and my money situation isn't so bad, I just, because you have to work, it's not like anxiety stress, but it's like a load. A load. Oh God. Anyways, it's just more of, think about when you're lifting weights, you're putting a physical load on your body. You're putting a stressor on your body. And stress can be good or bad, right? You can have eustress or distress. So eustress, that's stress that's good for you. And usually what it comes down to is stress being in the right doses. So for example, right now I'm doing this work, it's a mental stress, and normally that's fine, it's cool. But right now I'm noticing that my body is just not able to handle as much. Um, and so if you're going through a really hard time right now and you're like, yo, man, I'm with you. I want to take a bunch of time off to heal, but I can't this second because that's what I want to do. That's what I will do after this. I'm going to take at least 2 weeks of healing. But if you're not able to do that, especially these tips that I'm going to share with you are going to be really helpful. And I do want to say that my number one piece of advice I would give to you, number one piece of advice, if you're watching this and you have the ability to, I would highly recommend is taking at least a week or two fully off where your only job is to heal. Because actually treating yourself well as a human in our modern world is very challenging, especially if you're not naturally genetically like robust in some ways. I would say my mental health, and this is probably true of a lot of people, if I don't get sunlight, if I don't get movement, if I don't see people, if I don't get a lot of sleep, if I don't do these things every day, I pretty much get unhappy. And I don't think it's necessarily a mystery. I mean, it just comes from our evolution. We have all these, DNA signals that really only get triggered in certain conditions because those were the conditions of us being outside all the time as cave people, essentially, where you didn't, sit inside away from the sun. It wasn't possible. Even in the wintertime, if you're hibernating, and that's a whole different thing. So I won't even get into that because I think we just probably slept a lot more in the winter. And that's probably a factor you might have had this COVID season too. But anyways, that's a whole side thing. I'm already getting off track. I had a really stressful day and I just had an edible or two. So hopefully it's not kicking in too much. But the tips I want to give you now are, yes, to use weed. Use these edibles if you can because it is helpful at night for the stress. But also to really look, and I'm just throwing that out as a funny suggestion. If you've never taken an edible before, do not take an edible just based on my look into it with a friend. You know what I mean? Like a responsible friend who's done it before. Don't just dive in. But the key things that you really have to focus on are, number one, you have to realize that all these tips I'm giving you are basically to ensure that you get good sleep. So in this world that is often very harsh, we got to make money. So you have to work, right? That's the problem. But if you're sick with any of the stomach issues, you also got to heal. So you have two goals you basically have to accomplish in each day. And what you have to do is get into this mode of thought that's very pragmatic and very practical, and basically just have two wins for the day. So when you wake up, your number one goal is to get the shit done that you absolutely have to get done that day. You know what I mean? Don't get distracted with all the fucking emails. Don't get distracted with communications that aren't important. I don't know what your job is, but chances are you know what the shit is you really got to get done. Maybe it's just showing up. You know what I mean? So that's the first outcome you have to ensure. You got to get the money bag because without the money, you're going to get anxious because you don't have money and you're worried about it. If you could move in with somebody else to save money and not have to worry, I wouldn't want to live with my parents at this point. It would not be good for my mental health, I would say. If I saw that as a legitimate option, I wouldn't have as much stress about money. But, depending on how old you are, I'm fucking single, unmarried. If you have kids or anything, that you got to be able to put that money in the bag and take it home. So that's your first goal of the day. And that means you have to cut out anything that's going to fuck with you. So I like to watch video games a lot of the time. I don't do that in the morning. I really try not to look at social media at all in the morning. I try not to do anything. Even I don't want to read too much, right? I'll read for 30 or 40 minutes, but you just have to feel your own energy levels and basically make sure that you are channeling them to getting that work done. For me, what that looks like is I wake up, I usually chill, read, have a smoothie, drink a bunch of water, do some stretching in the morning, and then I go out to the park and I meditate in the sun. I walk around the park a bunch. It's fucking great. And I listen to mindfulness audiobooks when I'm walking to and from the park, or comedy podcasts. I think it's good. You need to have things that aren't social media that are fun to kind of like help you with your day. And so that's all leading up to when I come back from the park, I do my writing. Or sometimes, as I've been doing lately, I'll do like a shorter walk, do my writing, then go do the longer walk. Everything revolves around getting that work done. Today, unfortunately, I only did like a very short walk, and then I had to crush my work. It is 5:56, and I'm about to go to the park and get some more sun and walk around and just stretch for like an hour. So what I'm saying is you have to secure the money first, okay? So whatever that entails. And then the second thing, and this is like right below the money goal, because if you're homeless, there's nowhere to sleep. But the second goal is you have to ensure that you get good sleep. Or maybe ensure is the wrong word because you can't actually control it. And if you're interested in knowing, like, there's a book about sleep that I really recommend, but I can't remember right now. So if you're interested, just comment like sleep book in the comments and I'll look it up and post it. But anyways, one of the key things with sleep is that you have to get sun. You have to not be stressed at night. There's all these different things with sleep. And I have a couple full-length videos on that, so I won't go into it here. This is already, 11 minutes in. But you have to make sure you do everything you can. And when it's a tough time, you got to be real with yourself, and you got to have this kind of like not warlike mentality because, I'm relatively privileged in some ways, but it's warlike in the sense that it's strategic. You want to have a strategic attitude, right? So when I say that, I mean that you need to recognize that if you're sick and, actually, fuck it. Privilege aside, if you're sick and you got to make money like I am, or if you are right now, like, I got to be honest with you guys, I feel like if I don't make the right moves, I could very easily, have to go back home living with mom or get so sick that like shit goes ham. And I don't think it's going to happen because I think we're way better right now than when the series started. But it's like the reality you have to see that, okay, if I mess up right now, it probably won't matter. But if you keep messing up for months, you're never going to get better. And I think I wasted probably like 3 to 6 months doing bad habits, staying up late playing video games, all these things out of avoidance that were understandable during COVID. But if you're avoiding shit right now, I'm telling you, you got to face the dragon. You got to look it in the eye and say, what do I need to do to ensure the money bag, but also to ensure the sleep bag? So for me, it meant stuff like I stopped playing video games with my friends because the game itself, Dota 2, I love Dota, but Dota's kind of a toxic game. It kind of makes people toxic. And it's fine to play when you're not in a period of great stress. But at other times, like now, it's a stressor that I don't want to add on. And as someone who's played that a lot, and it's like the main thing I would do on my own if I wasn't seeing anybody else and I'm just chilling, it was hard to give up. And again, these are like things that sound very easy to change, and it'd be very easy to make fun of you right now, and you should, but at the same time, I think we make fun of ourselves a lot, and we say like, you think that these things don't matter for one, which they really do matter, because playing video games like that at night, I'm stressed, I'm up, or if you're looking at social media at night, any screens at night, that's an addiction you got to give up, homies, and it's important to recognize it as an addiction. Because those fucking social media wizards, video game wizards, they know human psychology. They know how to make it engaging and how to keep you hooked, right? It's just like a casino. And that's not a bad thing. Casinos are fun. I like going to Vegas. But you got to recognize that the house always wins. And so you have to just be mindful of how it affects your focus and your mental health, honestly. And that starts with sleep. So what I'm really saying here is that you have to make sure that your priorities are very clear with these two goals, and then just cut out everything that's not serving you. And I've had this prayer recently. I'm kind of an atheist who's into Buddhism, and I don't really believe in a God that would answer a prayer necessarily, but I do believe that with our own internal states, how you feel any given day, our intentions have a lot of power. I don't think intentions are like these like law of attraction, whoa, things that could like, manifest money. It's like your actions have to manifest money, but your intentions, I think, kind of guide all these different parts of your mind, because you have all these different kind of like warring parts. kind of organizes those and gives them a direction. So one prayer, if you will, that I've been using recently is help me to let go of the things that are hurting me or not serving me, and help me to cultivate those things that are serving me. So doing these videos is something that serves me, and there's resistance to me recording these videos, which is why over the past few years I haven't released that many. But at the same time, there's this lesson of starting again over and over. And if I'm jumping around this video, I apologize. Honestly, it just feels good to be able to release some of this. So this is kind of my therapy as well. But back to you and what you could learn from this. I think a lot of this at the end of the day comes down to mindset. I would highly recommend Jordan Peterson's new book, Beyond Order. He talks about chaos and about the suffering in the world and how basically you have to do your best to be a hero and rise to the challenge. And he also makes a great point, which I think is missing in a lot of this raw, like self-help literature in America. And he makes a great point that like you can try your best and you still might just fail. He's like, there are forces that are out there that are way larger than you. And sometimes you're going to be bested by these forces and you might die. You might just completely fail. That's the reality. And I like that because it's honest. It doesn't say like anybody can make it. Like Nipsey Hussle says, circle got smaller. Everybody can't go. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of a different meaning to this idea, but the reality is in both cases, not everyone is going to make it. But you might make it if you try. And that's what I'm trying to do right here, guys. It feels really hard, honestly, but I also feel like the sense of confidence because I've been here before. I've had challenging situations before. There's a sense of fear because I've never been this sick before. Most people have not, and you may have experienced this if you're going around talking to people. It's like most people have not been super sick for a long period of time. I'm defining long as honestly anytime longer than maybe a couple weeks or a month because people have gotten mono. But like, bro, I've been sick for over a year essentially. And I think I'm on the up and up. And I just want you to know that if you're feeling that and your friends aren't getting it, I get it, bro. I get it. Okay, I'm going to end this here because we're starting to ramble a little bit. But one final little bonus tip I want to leave for you is go check out Loving Kindness by Sharon Salzberg. It's an audiobook. It's probably under $10 on Audible. And I got to tell you, this short and sweet book is really powerful. Sharon Salzberg is my favorite mindfulness teacher because she focuses on loving kindness. Her story is basically like her parents both died when she was quite young. I'm really shortening the story because this is such a long video, but she went through a lot. Her family life was completely destroyed. She never had parents. And this means that there was a lot of suffering in her life. And out of that suffering, she chose to cultivate a lot of compassion. And you can hear it in her voice. It's a very soothing listen, but it's also very powerful. You can feel it. You can feel it changing things within you as you listen to it. So I'm going to end this now. Like, comment, subscribe. Give me that love. And peace until next time. Oh, yeah.